All right, Shalom. This is Amawan with GMS Wisconsin. First, I'd like to start by saying all praise to Yahweh Shema Shai, double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the work of sincerity and truth. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. That's talking about your FEMA troops, man, and the many types of troops and police officers that's going to come in and kick in Jake doors, man, to hold them off the concentration camps and stuff, man. It says a great insurrection. It says, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. Right, and that's talking about the RFID chip, because that's the ultimate goal of the elites, man, is to make everybody take the chip. With things offered unto idols, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision, and in reproach, and trodden underfoot. Right, and those that take the chip gonna be fucked up, man. They're gonna get fucked up by the police and the military. Why? Because in that time it's gonna be martial law, which is another form of what you see happening now, man. They bring it in slowly but surely. It's called the police state, man.
Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick
It
does
says,
what no governor in modern U.S. history has
right,
ever
but yeah,
done. He orders
that's why I
nearly
got
a
this
million
document right
people
here,
to
man.
stay
It's called the
home.
police
The
state.
greater Boston
Because
area
as you can
shut
see, the
down.
police state is
Heavily
happening right
armed officers in
before your
Watertown
eyes.
search for the
And
suspect,
it's
house
in a
to
small
house.
form right now, but it's
Residents
happening,
trapped
man.
in their homes
It
but
says
anxious
police
to
state is
talk
a
and
term
communicate
denoting
by
a
phone,
government that
text, and the
exercises
internet.
power
All day long, we're just kept looking at each other. My husband and I
arbitrarily.
saying, "Is this
Right, and
really
that's what you see.
happening?" And we're watching the
Obama
TV,
basically taking
and
away
it just
the
felt like
constitutional
we were
rights, the Bill
inside
of
this
Rights, and certain laws
strange
that they made,
nightmare.
and
Those
bringing in his
inside
own
their homes
legislation,
weren't
man,
allowed to leave,
through
and
the
those
power of the
outside
police force.
weren't allowed
Right,
in.
and using the
It's
police
super
force to do
scary.
it.
Like, of all the
And
places
that's
in
why
Boston,
you
I
got
never thought that they would be right here.
The dramatic scene played out in front
groups
of our
like the
cameras.
99%
It is
versus the
outrageous that the
1%.
young must now
That's why
foot the
you
bill.
see all of the protests that's going on. The
They
police are
question
getting
the
violent
system
with the
and fight
protesters
against
and
those
stuff,
who
man,
represent it.
which is
The response
according
of the
to their law
authorities,
against
pepper spray.
the Posse Comitatus.
Educate yourself. Take Business 101,
This is what you see
Economics
here. It says
101.
the Posse Comitatus Act is
They
a
call
United
themselves
States
the
federal law
99%. Their stories are the
signed on
stories of
June 18,
outrage.
1878 by President
I've never been in a
Rutherford B.
party.
Hayes.
I've
The
never been
purpose
to a
of the
demo
act,
before.
in concert with the Insurrection Act
It's the
of
largest social
1807,
movement in
is to
30
limit
years,
the powers
and its spirit
of the
has yet to
federal
be
government
broken.
in using federal military personnel
But can the
to
protests on the
enforce
streets
domestic
really
policies.
alter the course
Now,
of the
federal
world?
military personnel
Should
would
we
be
really put capitalism in handcuffs? And should these indignant citizens be allowed to have an influence?
the United States Armed Forces are the federal armed forces of the United States. They consist of the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. It says the President of the United States is the military's overhead and helps form military policy with the U.S. Department of Defense, a federal executive department, acting as the principal organ by which military policy is carried out. Right, so it's basically your Army, your Navy, your Marine Corps, and as you can see, they got it right here also. But yeah, it says, and actually, the police also have become a federal military.
Now, we're going to take a look at the law enforcement in the U.S. and how their role may be changing and their power expanding. We've shown you image after image of police using pepper spray on seemingly peaceful protesters. So pepper spray seems to have become the weapon of choice. But that's just the beginning of what police have in their arsenal these days, thanks to a program out of the Pentagon, one that not very many people know about. Local police are getting their hands on weapons and equipment from the military. The 2011 Department of Defense forked over $500 million worth of military machinery to local police departments. So is the government gearing up for Main Street to rise up? From our New York studio, writing fellow for the National Institute, Max Blumenthal joins us now. Welcome, Max. So pepper spray, as we've seen, is the weapon of choice for police these days, based on the video coming out of these Occupy Wall Street protests. What else is law enforcement getting their hands on these days?
Well, first of all, I'm from the Nation Institute. I have to say that for my
funders, but speaking of police funding, police have, as you said, just this year in 2011, received $500 million in surplus military weaponry from the Pentagon, which is authorized through the Pentagon's 1033 program. During the late 70s, Congress passed legislation called Posse Comitatus, barring the military from operating on American soil. And in the early 80s, there was an effort to circumvent that in Congress by arming police with military-grade weaponry. And now we're seeing that play out in the streets. People in the inner city in the U.S. have been experiencing this since the 80s, and now middle-class Americans in the Occupy movement are facing not only pepper spray, but things like the LRAD sound cannon, the long-range acoustic device, which can blast your cranium with 140 decibels, shaking your skull so hard even earplugs won't stop it. And as I reported for Al Akhbar English, this weapon has been tested on Palestinians in the occupied West Bank by the Israeli army. So civilians in the U.S. are now up against basically military-style policing.
The police also have become a federal military. That's why it's going against the Posse Comitatus Act, because your police officers were militarized, man. They militarized the police when they started giving them M16s and flashbang grenades and all that extra equipment that they started giving to them after the Twin Towers fell, and mainly in 2011 also, man, to enforce domestic policies with the United States. It says the purpose of the act, in concert with the Insurrection Act of 1807, is to limit the powers of the federal government in using federal military personnel to enforce domestic policies with the United States. Right, and they are using federal military personnel on the people right now, man. Alright, we can go back to this. It says, originally the term designated a state regulated by a civil administration, but since the beginning of the 20th century, the term has taken on an emotional and derogatory meaning by describing an undesirable state of living characterized by the overbearing presence of civil authorities. It says the inhabitants of a police state may experience restriction on their mobility, and as you can see, that was that happened when the Boston Marathon happened, and other terrorist attacks happened when they start to lock down certain cities, and then they actually keep them police there in them cities, man, patrolling. Like you got police officers that was patrolling Chicago, New York, they train stations and stuff, man. That's how you know this is going into a police state. It says the inhabitants of the police state may experience restrictions on their mobility, so that's them locking down certain cities in certain areas, which was happening and still is happening, or on their freedom to express or communicate political or other views, right? And they passed legislation saying the people basically don't have a right to protest outside of certain buildings, man. So that's taking away certain freedoms of speech that they have, which the buildings is federally owned buildings, or when senators or Republicans are in the presence, man, that's taking away their freedom of speech, which are subject to police monitoring or enforcement, and that's going on heavy in America right now. It says political control may be exerted by means of a secret police force. Right, and the secret police force is secret police. Secret police are intelligence services or police and law enforcement agencies which operate in secrecy. Now, right here. This is Snowden leaks reveal size of U.S. secret police. Right now, what's his name? Edward Snowden came out about the United States Secret Police Force, man, that people really don't know nothing about. And this is just a list, and it's also on this this site. also. But these are the police forces, man, the secret police forces. It says Air Force Intelligence, Army Intelligence, Central Intelligence Agencies, Coast Guard Intelligence, Defense Intelligence Agency, Department of Energy, Department of Homeland Security. No wonder why they was buying billions and billions of ammunition, man. That's a sign of the police state, because they getting ready to lock America down so they can bring in this new world order, man. And if anybody get out of line, they're gonna put them to death. It says Department of State, Department of Treasury, Drug Enforcement Administrations, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and some of these you already know, Marine Corps Intelligence, National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, National Reconnaissance Office, National Security Agency, and Navy Intelligence, man. These are the secret police that they're talking about that's actually involved in what you see happening in America right now, man. These protests and all that is being monitored by all these different organizations. See, you would have thought the Army and the Navy and all that wasn't getting involved, and they just sitting by because they take care of business across seas. But America was declared a battleground, which means the business they take across seas also applies to the business that they have to take care of in America. Now, the business that's across seas is so-called terrorism. But Obama passed another legislation, which was the America being declared a battleground. Not only that, Bush also passed the Patriot Act 1 and 2, and Obama enhanced and furthered the Patriot Act 1 and 2, which declares everybody terrorists. They get to monitor everybody. Everybody don't have a due process. That's taking away y'all so-called liberties and freedoms in America, man. Right here. It says Battlefield U.S. Americans face arrest as war criminals under Army state law.